I will burn this planet down before I spend another minute living among these animals.
Ninjago Dragons Rising is the most recent installment in the Ninjago franchise, and in the past few years it's been around. It's getting quite a following. Shout out Ninjago Dragons Rising fans, gotta be one of my favorite genders. And with any TV show, it's obviously gonna have people who don't like it, which is fine. No one's gonna enjoy every piece of media they watch. It's very, very normal thing, you know. Except for Rise of the TMNT, no one is allowed to dislike that show. That show is peak. I will defend it till the day I die. But Dragons Rising is in a really weird place right now where either you love it or you hate it to pieces, no in between, which is weird because there's gotta be people who think it's just fine, it's nothing crazy. Plenty of people in my comments think so what's the deal? Now this correlates to the previous videos I made on the Ninjago community where there's a very big divide between people who like exclusively the older seasons and people who like the newer stuff, and how a lot of OG fans really like to dog on not only the show but the fans too. But this also goes both ways, very much so. With a couple of Dragons Rising fans acting like the earlier seasons don't have their merit, even if a few things haven't aged well. Skybound. But for the most part, a decent amount of them are pretty chill. Smooth, maybe 65%, at least from what I've seen. I'm not too active on the Ninjago community in most places. I try to keep to my own community here on YouTube. And while there's a large amount of normal people, there's a lot of crazy people, and that has never been more apparent than with this video. Now, Parachuting Kitten released a kind of like analysis video on Dragons Rising and some criticism she had for the show while comparing the series to Young Justice, because they share similar types of storytelling, which from what I heard isn't the best comparison since they're two different types of shows. Now in this video she addressed some criticisms with the show she had, and while some actually had credibility, others didn't, but like, that's fine. Everyone has their opinions. Some things are going to make sense to her, not so much for you, it's whatever. But a small chunk of the community freaked the hell out. Oh my gosh. Some people were straight up reporting her video and making fun of her appearance, which is just nuts.
I think you're nuts.
Like, she wasn't even being a dickhead about it. She just expressed why some things didn't click for her, and that was it. She didn't even say it was bad. She straight up said she liked the show numerous times. She could have said she didn't like the show, and I really wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't even blame her for hating the show after this, because this was just nuts.
Nuts.
But then you also have this small subset of the fandom that bleeds into the main problem that I want to address within this video. Now when Dragons Rising premiered, it was hot off the heels of Ninjago Crystallized, the so-called series finale to the original Ninjago show, meant to finish off the series and pretty much wrap up any loose ends hanging. That was pretty bad. Like, I like this season to an extent, but like, man, does it warrant the hate it gets. It is Jesus. And when Dragons Rising Season 1 Part 1 dropped, you would not stop hearing Ninjago is back. People love Ninjago again after a pretty underwhelming era and a bad series finale. I'm talking bad.
It's okay. She's with us.
Why would you do that, Lloyd? People were glad to be Ninjago fans again, and this energy continued into Season 1 Part 2, and while obviously there were people who weren't on board with this series, which is fine, but for the most part, the reception to the series was really positive. I myself enjoyed it. I didn't think anything was too crazy. Well, it was pretty crazy. It was a very big shakeup for this series, but like, I thought it was pretty good. A solid B or A tier. I forget where I ranked it on my video. And then Season 2 released. This season was shaping up to be even better than the previous one, but this is also when a certain part of the community started to grow with all the older fans who stopped watching and coming back for the series for their nostalgia and not liking the changes made to the series. But I've already made two very shady videos on this issue before, so I'm not going to talk about that. Ninja Colt covered this topic way better than I ever could, so check his video out. Link will be in the description. But these old fans would just dismiss the series and say it's bad without doing more than watching like maybe a few episodes at most, which has really bogged down the public perception of the series. Like, if you go online and talk to random people about Ninjago, there's always going to be at least one handful of people who say DR sucks and the OG is better when, well, yeah, it's just their opinion. These people will not shut up. Like, I get it, you like this more than this. Okay, leave me alone.
Listen, son, if you are watching this, look into the camera. Look at your papa. Fuck off.
And for some reason, a lot of people who like the original series more will not leave the people who like the newer stuff alone, which has led to a lot of fans being very defensive about this series. And while it sucks that fans are like this, I can't say I don't understand the defensiveness. Something similar happened with my favorite show, Rise of the TMNT. It preceded a really popular series and was different, therefore bad. And over time, it did get a sizable and very talented fandom. It is still very small compared to other TMNT versions. And anytime someone says something bad, I personally get offended just because of how hard and how long the series was bashed on, especially with such small fan base to begin with. But the thing about Dragons Rising is that this show is only growing more and more popular. I mean, look at the difference. This show is by no means in danger of being cancelled and probably only going to continue to grow. Someone voicing their problems on the series isn't going to harm anyone or anything. And while I felt some of her criticisms were misguided, I feel like the proper thing to do would just be explain your viewpoint and interpretation and just further help her understand where you're coming from instead of just bullying her. This got slightly out of hand that even like Bricks by Mine and Krusty783, two pretty big Lego/Ninjago YouTubers, noticed. This even ended up reaching Doc Wyatt, the current head writer and executive producer on Ninjago Dragons Rising, who responded in literally the best way possible. So shout out to Doc Wyatt, they could never make me hate you. And I mean, he's right. Criticism is what helps shows grow and be better than before. Now, thankfully, the majority of the community called these people out because this is just insane over a video that wasn't even made with bad intentions. But there's also the overall larger problem in the fandom where they treat anything negative like it's the end of the world. Like, again, I get it, but also, we are better than this. Don't be like Sentinel. This is what the Ninjago community does if you don't like their show. Dragons Rising is both a blessing and a curse because while on one hand we have a pretty good series, we also have people who will completely dismiss it over nothing, or people who act like the show is above criticism. And neither of those two sides are good, okay? Both people who like act like it's above criticism and people who dismiss it, you know, that no, you don't win, two wrongs don't make a right. Why was that so hard to word? So this video goes out on behalf of the Ninjago community. Y'all, don't be dickheads to people who don't deserve it. Y'all, there are plenty of people who do deserve it, but like, don't give them the attention they want. But also, people who keep their criticism constructive and not in a bad faith are completely undeserving of it. And in the spirit of constructive criticism, I want to give mine. Doc Wyatt, please get rid of Dorama. I hate him so much. Please, Doc Wyatt. Please have Thunderfang step on him or something. Please.